Good evening. I'm Matt Weintraub, Bucks County District Attorney. I'm here to make an announcement about a significant development in the investigation that you've all been following so patiently, so diligently. We have found human remains in an approximately 12.5-foot deep common grave that we have painstakingly dug with a lot of care so as not to damage any potential evidence. And I'm very, very sad to say that we can now identify Dean Finocchiaro, 19 years old, of Middletown, as one of the people that was found buried in that grave. He's been missing since Friday. We notified his family that we have recovered his body. There are additional human remains inside that grave. So this painstaking process will go on. We're not done yet. This is a homicide, make no mistake about it. We just don't know how many homicides. We are yet to know the answer to that question. And I want to let you know that we reiterated over and over again, and it goes to say one more time to the families, that we're strong, and we're going to remain strong, and we're going to see this investigation to the end, and we're going to bring each and every one of these lost boys home to their families one way or another. And we will not rest until we do that. I will take a few questions, and then I'll see you tomorrow at 11.
Do you have a number of these guys shot?
I can't comment on the type of homicide that it is at this point, but I am comfortable classifying it as homicide. Dan?
Do you have enough to file homicide charges now, at least for the one victim so far?
That is something that we're going to look at very, very closely. I feel that we bought ourselves a little bit of time in charging Mr. DiNardo with the stolen car case today and getting that $5 million bail. It is my hope that he does not post that, but that's his prerogative, of course, if he can post it. But we're going to start looking seriously at the homicide charges, and in fact, we already have pursued that option.
Do you suspect there's additional victims aside from the 4 reported boys?
Yes. I'm sorry. No, I misunderstood you. Not at this time.
What kind of condition were the remains in?
I don't want to comment on that, but you can draw some logical conclusions. They were found inside a 12.5-foot deep hole that we had to excavate.
That's a pretty big hole. Do you think that there's something one person did, or do you think there might be other people involved?
I really can't say. We're still examining the evidence. The investigation, as you all know, has taken 2 tracks. It's been about recovery on one side and about ascertaining what actually occurred on the other side. And we're still avidly pursuing both of those avenues at this time.
You found evidence in 2 places. Can you now tell us a little bit more about that evidence?
No, because that part of the investigation is very much alive. As I said before, all the leads that we've been pursuing are hot. They remain so, and this is verified proof of that. I'll take one more question.
What led you to that grave? Was it dug up, or did the dogs lead you there?
We had cadaver dogs. And I don't understand the science behind it, but those dogs could smell these poor boys 12.5 feet below the ground. All right, thank you all very much. I'll see you at 11 o'clock. Have a good night.
And this is really the news that these families were dreading. This is now officially a murder case, and police seem to be right on the cusp of figuring out what was behind the mystery of these missing 4 men. And at the center of it is a man they are calling a person of interest. This morning, a major break in the case and the disappearance of 4 young men.
We have found human remains in an approximately 12.5-foot deep common grave.
One of the bodies identified as 19-year-old Dean Finocchiaro, last seen nearly a week ago. Police are not yet identifying the other remains in the grave.
This is a homicide, make no mistake about it.
Authorities say cadaver dogs led them to the site.
Those dogs could smell these poor boys 12.5 feet below the ground.
The grandfather of Thomas Mayo, another one of the missing men, told an NBC producer the bodies were found under a propane tank.
They lifted the propane tank out, and they were sifting through it, and they found a blue tarp.
They found a what? Blue tarp.
A blue tarp.
20-year-old Cosmo DiNardo was arrested Wednesday, police calling him a person of interest in the case. They say he tried to sell Thomas Mayo's car to a friend for $500. According to the criminal complaint, Mayo's car was found on property owned by DiNardo's family. The keys and title to the vehicle were folded up and hanging up on the wall inside of the garage. The remains were found in a different location, on the grounds of the DiNardo's 90-acre home. In court documents, police described DiNardo as suffering from mental illness.
We heard a series of blasts.
A neighbor of the DiNardos says she heard shots Saturday afternoon.
Very disturbing gunshot fires. And then I heard some commotion.
Jimmy Tarpatrick, Mark Sturgis, Tom Mayo, and Dean Finocchiaro all went missing last week. Police have one message for the families.
We're going to bring each and every one of these lost boys home to their families one way or another. We will not rest until we do that.
Police this morning are carefully removing those remains. They're going to identify him. As for Cosmo DiNardo, he's being held on a $5 million cash bail. Guys, back to you.